So this
the
guy here,
life
yeah,
and
this
movement, I
guy
started
here
listening to that music, especially Bob
is
Marley's
from
music, and he
Guyana.
spoke a lot about God.
He used to be a
And
Christian and a
also, I listened to other artists
Rastafari.
who were speaking towards having
He's a Rastafari brother, and now he's gone
drawn
to
to God
Islam.
because
So it just goes to show you
he's in
never know.
Toronto
You should
also.
never disrespect no one.
To walk the divine path
Each
in
to
a
their
way that we
own.
felt
Everyone has their own divine
um,
path, like, yeah. So I
would
thought,
be
yeah, let's
necessary of
listen to
me to
this,
embrace the life, it
and
would
I'll
mean
give
me
my
leaving the life I
opinion
was living,
still.
shouting out to me that this can't be true. So he asked me how I felt about it, and I said it sounded like the truth to me. He asked me if I wanted to embrace it. And I thought about it for a bit.
Let's have a listen. What's he saying now? This is
What they called draft dodgers who were resisting going into the American Army and fled to Canada to avoid going to
very
Vietnam.
eloquent guy, and you know
He was from Philadelphia,
he
and
knows
he
his
came to
stuff. So
Toronto, and
yeah,
my
Christian
name
to
got his ear, and he
Rastafari,
came visit me
and
one
then yeah,
day.
his name is
Said he
Abu
heard about
Dawah.
me,
That's
introduced
it.
himself
Just
as a
wanted to get
Muslim,
his name up.
and
Brother Abu Dawah
he
now.
asked me if I ever heard about Islam.
I'll put a link in the
And I told
description
him,
for this
well,
guy.
the only thing I know is
Yeah, so
Muhammad
yeah.
Ali because he was the biggest
So
name.
anyway, instead of me talking like your
And
bomb stuff,
so
here we go. So
I
he's
was I
asking
was I was well known as a
gangster
street person.
street,
I was very popular in our little world in Toronto at the time.
very eloquent.
And so my name got the ear of a Muslim brother from America. He had come over with those group of what they called draft dodgers who were resisting going into the American Army and fled to Canada to avoid going to Vietnam. And he was from Philadelphia. And he came to Toronto, and my name got his ear, and he came visit me one day, said he heard about me, introduced himself as a Muslim. And he asked me if I ever heard about Islam. And I told him, well, the only thing I know is Muhammad Ali because he was the biggest name of Islam and Malcolm X, in my time. But before that, really, I had never given consideration to Islam, even though Islam is the religion of some of the people in the country I was born in. I just it just wasn't there with me. But when he explained Islam to me, and everything about it sounded like what I wanted to hear of the divine religion, in that it sounded like the truth. Whereas compared to Christianity, I had so many things shouting out to me that this can't be true. So he asked me how I felt about it, and I said it sounded like the truth to me. He asked me if I wanted to embrace it, and I thought about it for a bit, and I reflected on what would be necessary of me to embrace the life. It would mean me leaving the life I was living, basically, and at the time I didn't want to do that. I was enjoying the life I was living, and I didn't want to do that because I wanted to commit to Islam if I took it up, and I didn't feel that my commitment would be strong enough to hold me there, and I didn't want to play around like that, especially with something that I was considering to be the truth at the time. So for the next several years, Islam would not be in my thoughts at all. In fact, when the moment of like a spiritual crisis overcame me, because what happened was that a point came in my life, and among many youths in Toronto, in their lives, where there was like a spiritual rumblings among us. We grew up as Christians, all of us, but we wanted to walk the divine path in a way that we felt would be sanctioned by the Creator, at least. And most of us didn't know of Islam. None of us. We all came from Christian backgrounds. And at that time, the Rastafari movement was big in the black community. So that was an attraction for some of the youths. On the other hand, some brothers were coming from America and introducing Islam to us youths in Toronto also. So there were two streams running the community there. There was the Rastafari movement and there was the Islamic movement. And those youths who had spiritual awakening or spiritual consciousness, for them it was, okay, which way do we go? So you found like maybe half the youths became Rasta men and women, and half the youths went into Islam. For the first part, I remained aloof from either of them. when myself and my wife separated, I find myself being drawn to the Creator, being drawn to God, because the separation had affected me. Two things about it affected me. One was that I didn't know what the issue was, because all of a sudden she doesn't like me anymore. She doesn't want anything to do with me, my wife. You know, all of a sudden, I mean, like, she woke up one morning and this is what's happening. And over the period of a year, it intensified.
Hey, bro.
So when we broke up, it was like a shock to me. And then, you know, we were such an ideal marriage. I thought it would be a marriage that would last for life. So the breakup of my family really affected me. And I needed some spiritual counseling. And my mother, she used to read a Christian book from the Unity Church called Daily Word. It was a little pamphlet. And this book had things that sayings that would help you have faith or believe in God or pray to Him and look for answers and so on. So I found that was helpful, right? Because I just needed some spiritual support, and I found it was helpful. As soon as I got over the period of all that, I put that down and I never went back to any religious article again. Then, also at the time of the Rastafarian movement, I started listening to that music, especially Bob Marley's music, and he spoke a lot about God. And also I listened to other artists who were having spiritual experiences, expressing spiritual experiences in their music. So, and at that time I was living the life of a bachelor, and I rented a place and I was by myself, so I was thinking a lot. At home by myself a lot, thinking a lot, pondering where I want to go with myself spiritually. Shortly after that, I embraced the Rastafari culture. Listening to the music of Bob Marley and artists like Earth, Wind and Fire, who were the main artists that I listened to because of the spiritual nature of their music, inspired me to seek the divine path. And without looking here or there, I walked towards the Rastafari movement. I was going fine with that for a while, but I increasingly kept hearing some brothers referring to Haile Selassie, which was emperor in Ethiopia, as God or the Son of God. And if it's one thing that I couldn't accept for the time I knew about God or accepted God, was that no.
Right now, guys, this is someone's opinion. So Rastas, we don't know shit about Rastas. This guy's going to explain to us he's been there. So now we should carry on. He's going to tell us about what Rastafari is. And that's their opinion. Look, many people say man's pagans or whatever. There was 12 sons of Judah. I don't know much about Rastafari. All I know is whenever I come across the Rastafari, he's been humble, kind. He's been broken bread together. He's been kind to me. And that's their opinion. Like they say Jesus is Son of God. And they say this, they've said this from Ethiopia. And obviously everyone knows the seal of the prophet. The seal of the prophet is Muhammad, peace be upon him. His story was from an orphan boy. He lost both his parents at a young age, which is another debate for another day we could possibly talk about. Also leave your comments and that. But my opinion is I don't know nothing about Rastafari, and I am Muslim. I come from the blood of the Prophet's grandson, Al-Hassan Al-Hussein. And my family, most of them were martyred at the Battle of Karbala, which it wasn't a battle, it was more of a slaughter. But anyway, that's something else. That's got nothing to do with this. This is his opinion, what he's been through, and everyone has their divine journey and path, as you can see and said. So there's always a path, there's always something to hold on to. So that's what you got. Hold that and never beat this depression or these illnesses you have inside of yours, and seek the truth. So yeah, let's carry on, because these videos do make sense. So it's about 10 minutes left of it, so let's go.
No man could be God. And
Okay, so
but
let's pull up.
I was going fine with that for a while, but I increasingly kept hearing some brothers referring to Haile Selassie, which was emperor in Ethiopia, as God or the Son of God. And if it's one thing that I couldn't accept from the time I knew about God or accepted God, was that no man could be God. And but I played it off as if, well, that's his personal belief. I went even further in this because I was sure that this was a divine path, because when I did my research for the movement, it brought me to the Old Testament and the messenger Samson, who was a Nazarene. The Nazarenes were people who did not cut their hair, this is where the Rastafari movement biblical roots originate. So from my point of view, I was on a divine path because it had biblical verification. I started to attend the Ethiopian Orthodox Church because I wanted to separate myself from those other people who were corrupted with some other form of this movement. And so I started to attend the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. But then I realized that I'm a Christian, because the Ethiopian Orthodox Church is a Christian organization. So at that point, I began to question myself as what it is that I really wanted, and is this what I wanted? And I remember one night, after about maybe 5-6 years in the Rastafari movement, I went into the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I looked at myself, and I looked at my hair and everything, and I said to myself, the way of life that you want is something that you will hold for the rest of your life. Does this meet that criteria? Is this something that you could live the rest of your life being sure that it's the truth? And I had doubts. In fact, it was beyond doubts. I didn't think that
Wow, doubts. This
this was the truth at that point. By that time, another brother had came to my place and spoke to me about Islam in a beautiful way, simple but beautiful. And with that in my recent memory and the questions I'm having now, and the brother that I met, I said to myself, you know what? I'm going down there tomorrow and find out what it takes to be a Muslim, and I'm going to embrace Islam. And the next day, I went to the brother's house, and there was a group of brothers there who had preceded me in embracing Islam, about 7 of them. And in front of them, I embraced Islam. I didn't do any research. I already had 2 encounters with Islam before that had me have this feeling that I'm on solid ground as far as the truthfulness is concerned of Islam. So, and in fact, in the Sunni schools, there just wasn't that many things that you could do research on other than maybe Rasulullah's life. There wasn't that much literature, and I was satisfied that I was on the right path. There was only one time that one brother mentioned to me, if anybody asks you what school you were in, say Sunni school. But for the most part, our group were not a people that identified with Sunni Shia. We were just people who had hunger for the truth and the way of Allah, who we called God at the time, right, before we were Muslims. So we were just hungry for that. And if something presented itself like that to us, we would have gone. Fortunately, nothing else presented itself like that to us except Sunni Islam at the time. And so we embraced that. But there were 2 brothers among us who were of Shia Islam. They never pressed us about it, and they just left us alone. And they would come around us from time to time. And we were all comfortable with who we are. It so happened that some years later, that we called it a Jamaat. There was a group of us in our families. Our little Jamaat broke up. And the place place of congregation moved from where it was to my home. My home was convenient because by that time my marriage had fallen apart and I had custody of three children from that marriage. And so I was just like a single father. So it was convenient to go there, right? So you wouldn't be disturbing a family as such, right? Just me and my children. And while in that experience, one of the brothers of the two brothers who were of the Shia school, he needed a place to stay. And being open-minded as we were, fine, come stay by my place. Came to stay by my place. And he brought his books. One day, he introduced us to the books. And we were cool. We never had a Sunni Shia thing at all. So yeah, let's see the books. We were never gotten that close to Shia Islam at the time. From the moment we read the books, that's it. We were like the domino, all of us. All of us, one by one, embraced the Shia school. All of us. So now there were three brothers who were hardcore in their beliefs, and they stayed in the Sunni school. But out of the maybe 9, 10 of us, 7 of us embraced that school, and we are to this day. I remember the books that impressed me. Where I read a book like Ali the Magnificent, Hussein the Savior of Islam. I mean, those books, I didn't even want to go to sleep. You know, we held on. We were staying up late at night in discussion. We couldn't believe what we were reading. Everything made sense because we found it. We knew something was missing. Because when we were in the Sunni school, we found that we read the rightly guided caliphs, and that was the extent of literature. We had a book by Sayyid Qutb, and that was the extent of our literature. So we were thirsty. Like, this is all there is. Like, just make salat and fast and eat halal food. That was our Islam, you know. And so when the world of Shia Islam moves us, it's all these things about the prophets, the 12 imams, and all the people of his household, and all the literature. It was unbelievable to us, and so we became ferocious readers. We got in touch with the brother Musawi, who's related to the 7th imam. And he had a whole library. We tore him up, ate up his books. We were by him every few days, and he was giving us the books. Then he told us about the Bayview, the mosque, right? We started going to that mosque. On the basement of that mosque, they had books by the P. Ibrahim Muhammad Trust, Truth, Light, and Knowledge. We were floored. We were reading everything we could get our hand on, because, this is knowledge, right? And it's things we didn't know. We found it like we were misled. People were keeping things from us. Next thing you know, we started taking information to the Sunni masjid, and little did we know, and Jami Mosque, and the people were like, we thought we were just, hey, do you know of this, right? And people would be like us, but they were like, well, we can't deal with that stuff, and don't circulate that stuff here too much because it'd be trouble, And so we eventually, coalesced among our own selves, and we continued that existence. Today, I am a semi-retired teacher in Ottawa, and I am looking to launch another career, public speaking about my life, in any fora or to any group of people that are willing to hear me speak. And particularly, I think I can speak about challenges and overcoming them and addressing them, and even postpartum depression. I had a lot of experience with that, and my daughter also suffers from it, his sister, my son's sister, and she also has lost a lot too, right? And we didn't even know that she was suffering from it, so passed by just like that. So I want to start, I've written my autobiography, and I've written 3 children's
brothers
books.
and sisters.
I'm looking for a publisher for the children's books right now. They're in the hands of an editor.
Finish.
My autobiography is a more longer way off in terms of publishing, because though I've completed writing it with pen, my typing is slow, so I'm not getting good progress in that on my laptop, but I'm working on it. So hopefully the community, and people will be seeing more of me as the days go by. Unquestionably, finding Shia Islam has been the greatest thing that happened to my life, because I grew up
Shia
always
Islam.
so hopefully the community and people will be seeing more of me as the days go by. Unquestionably, finding Shia Islam has been the greatest thing that happened to my life, because I grew up always wanting to walk on the divine path and not knowing what the divine path was. And Allah has brought me through Christianity, the Afrocentric ideology, Rastafari, Sunni Islam, and to Shia Islam. I can only think that Allah wanted to guide me, right, and to fulfill my dreams and have my dreams fulfilled by taking me through all these steps, because Allah could have left me alone. He could have guided me to Rastafari and left me there. He could have guided me to Sunni Islam and closed me off, right? But He guided me to this. So I think that Allah has shown that He has blessed me and that He likes me, and so it's my determination to have Allah be pleased with me and to be pleased with Allah, His Prophet, His Al.
Yeah, this Shia, they don't pay the enough dues, respects. That's all it is. Shia Islam, for them, if it was up to them, everybody would be out the fold of Islam. So everyone has their own path. The main thing is you pray your 5 salah and you never disrespect no one. Because Shia, they disrespected the Prophet's companions, and they say bad words and stuff that is horrible. I'm not going to say stuff like that, because I want this to be for kids as well still, so we can learn. So they disrespected and is known to disrespect, and they turn a blind eye. So what about Christians and pagans and Rastafaris and Jews? So this is this guy's opinion. I can't say nothing to him. May Allah show him the right path. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which means the Lord Almighty, show us the right path. But you have two choices when you go to a path, right? Path. So you're trying to cross the road. It's up to you if you want to carry on walking without looking. You're going to look. That's your choice. If you don't, that's your choice, and you've committed suicide. So, it's up to you. So at the end of the day, it's how it is. You have choices in life. It's simple. This is, guys, his opinion. Yes, I disagree with him totally, because at the end of the day, he has his opinion, but I respect his opinion. I'm not going to go pick up swords and start chopping people's heads off. Oh, he's a pagan, he's an infidel, whatever. How do you know one day he might change his ways? You just don't know. It's life. So these videos I'm going to make for my sons. Nobody knows when you're gonna pass away or whatever, so I'm gonna make some videos. I'm gonna keep making them for my sons, so when I'm gone, something for them to remember. So this is my first one ever. I could have pulled it all the way back, but I don't wanna. But yeah, till the next one, guys, and those from the unknown brother. Yeah, man, bless.